Have you checked your pocket lately? Because one ordinary-looking wheat penny could be carrying hidden wealth that most people spend without a second thought. Today on CoinNova, we're revealing the top 4 most valuable and ultra-rare Lincoln Wheat Pennies that have stunned collectors and triggered real auction shock. Nobody talks about these coins because they look old, dirty, and completely ordinary, but some are worth more than luxury cars. Collectors are fighting to get their hands on them, and the silent fortune hiding inside these pennies is unbelievable. Do not spend these coins. Seriously, check your pocket now, check your coin jar, and check every old penny you can find, because these coins change everything. And trust me, each coin on this list gets rarer, more dangerous to ignore, and dramatically more valuable. Stay with me until the end, because the final coin could be the biggest hidden treasure you've ever seen. Coin number 1. Most people would throw this penny into a cash register without hesitation. That's exactly why the 1924 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark has become one of the most dangerous coins to ignore in the entire Wheat Penny series. At first glance, it looks worn, old, and completely unremarkable. Brown spots scatter across the surface, while strange green dots appear on the reverse side. To an average person, it looks like pocket change. To a serious collector, it can look like a life-changing opportunity hiding in plain sight. What makes this coin so fascinating is the year itself. America, in 1924, was experiencing a period of economic growth after the uncertainty and adjustments that followed World War I. Industries were expanding, cities were growing, and millions of Americans were using coins every day. The Philadelphia Mint, which produced pennies without a mint mark, was working constantly to meet circulation demand. Few people at the time imagined that pennies passing through stores, banks, and pockets would someday become hidden treasures worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The story of this coin becomes even more interesting when you look closely at its design. On the front, known as the obverse, you'll find Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his portrait appears the word Liberty, while the year 1924 sits prominently beside him. The famous motto, "In God We Trust," stretches across the upper edge. Every letter matters because collectors often study the sharpness, spacing, and wear patterns of these details. Most people miss this. Turn the coin over, and you'll see the iconic wheat ears design. 2 wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above them appears E pluribus unum. The green dots, visible on some examples, often attract attention because they reveal decades of natural aging and storage conditions. While damage is undesirable, original surfaces and authentic aging can tell the coin's story. This detail changes everything. The composition adds another layer of fascination. This penny was struck from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It carries a weight of approximately 3.11 grams, a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, a thickness of about 1.55 millimeters, and a girth or circumference of roughly 59.8 millimeters. In your hand, it feels small and ordinary. Yet that tiny piece of metal could represent serious money. During production, dies were used repeatedly under intense pressure. Over time, die wear, striking inconsistencies, and circulation damage affected countless coins. Millions entered commerce, but very few survived the following century in collectible condition. That's why finding a 1924 example today, even in almost fine condition, excites experienced collectors. And here's where many people make a costly mistake. They discover an old penny and immediately try to polish it. Never clean the coin. Cleaning permanently removes original surfaces, destroys historical character, and can slash collector value overnight. Original toning matters. Those brown shades, dark areas, and antique surfaces often help tell the coin's authentic story. Professional grading is critical because experts can verify authenticity, evaluate preservation, and determine how desirable the coin truly is. Collectors become obsessed with small details on this issue. The absence of a mint mark confirms Philadelphia production. They study lettering strength, wheat line visibility, color consistency, and even tiny surface characteristics. Some buyers wait years for the right example. Others enter auctions aggressively when a desirable coin appears. This is not fiction. As demand continues rising and surviving examples become harder to locate, competition grows stronger. Many collectors are holding their best pieces rather than selling them, creating even greater scarcity. When supply shrinks and demand climbs, values can move dramatically. Today, a 1,924 wheat penny with no mint mark, brown spotting, green reverse dots, and almost fine condition has been associated with auction values reaching an astonishing $458. Think about that for a moment. A coin many people would overlook could represent hidden wealth, a silent fortune, and a life-changing opportunity. You could literally be holding a fortune without realizing it. So before you spend another old penny, stop and inspect it carefully. Check the date first. Look for the missing mint mark. Preserve the original surface. Avoid cleaning. Be patient. That's how ordinary pocket change sometimes becomes extraordinary wealth. And if you think this coin is shocking, wait until you see the next wheat penny on our list. Its story is even rarer. Collectors chase it even harder, and the mistake people make with it could cost them an absolute fortune. Next up, imagine finding a penny so ordinary-looking that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick it up, and then discovering it could be worth $440. Hundredth. That's exactly why the 1,934 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark has become a coin that serious collectors refuse to ignore. Every day, people unknowingly spend coins that carry hidden wealth, but this particular wheat penny has developed a reputation for quietly shocking the marketplace. Its unusual orange layers, combined with brown and black spotting on the reverse, create a look that many mistake for damage. In reality, those unusual surfaces can be part of the story that makes collectors stop and take a second look. The year 1934 was unlike almost any other period in American history. The nation was still struggling through the hardships of the Great Depression. Families were saving every penny they could, jobs were scarce, and money carried enormous importance. As Americans worked to rebuild their lives, pennies flowed through stores, banks, factories, and neighborhoods across the country. The Philadelphia Mint was producing large numbers of Lincoln cents to keep commerce moving, yet very few people imagined that some of those everyday coins would survive long enough to become highly desirable collectibles nearly a century later. What makes this penny so fascinating isn't just its age, it's the way it has survived. Most circulated examples experience decades of wear, handling, and environmental exposure. The orange-toned layers seen on certain specimens can create a distinctive appearance that immediately catches the attention of experienced collectors. Most people miss this. They assume discoloration means the coin is worthless, when in some cases the opposite may be true. Take a close look at the obverse or front side, and you'll see Abraham Lincoln facing right. The famous motto, "In God we trust," stretches across the upper rim. The word liberty appears beside Lincoln's portrait, while the date 1934 sits clearly on the field. Collectors often spend hours studying these details. They examine the strength of the lettering, the visibility of Lincoln's features, and the overall preservation of the design. Flip the coin over, and the reverse tells another part of the story. Two wheat stalks frame the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above them appears the national motto, E pluribus unum. On circulated examples, brown and black spots often appear across portions of the reverse surface. While severe damage is undesirable, natural aging patterns can create unique visual character that collectors find intriguing. Every mark tells a story about where that coin has traveled during its lifetime. This small piece of American history was struck from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, carries a thickness of roughly 1.55 millimeters, and has a girth of about 59.8 millimeters. Nothing about those measurements sounds extraordinary, yet hidden inside those dimensions could be serious money. During the production process, coin dies endured tremendous pressure. Continuous striking created wear on mint equipment, and circulation quickly began affecting newly released pennies. Over the decades, countless 1,934 cents disappeared into collections, were lost, melted, damaged, or simply worn beyond recognition. That's one reason collectors become excited when attractive survivors emerge from old collections, jars, or forgotten boxes. Another factor driving demand is the missing mint mark. Because this coin was produced in Philadelphia, no mint mark appears beneath the date. Many collectors specifically seek no mint mark issues because they represent an important part of Lincoln cent history. Tiny details become obsessions. The color, the surfaces, the strike quality, the lettering, the preservation. Everything matters. If you ever discover a coin like this, do not spend this coin. That simple mistake could cost you a small fortune. And whatever you do, never clean the coin. Cleaning removes original surfaces that collectors desperately want to see. Once those surfaces are altered, the damage cannot be undone. Original toning matters. Original texture matters. Professional grading is critical because authentication and condition assessment can dramatically influence market value. Auction rooms become surprisingly intense when desirable wheat pennies appear. Bidding often starts quietly before turning aggressive. Experienced collectors know that opportunities to acquire exceptional examples don't appear every day. Many buyers choose to hold these coins long-term rather than sell them, reducing the number available on the market. As demand rises and available examples shrink, competition becomes even stronger. Today, a circulated 1,934 wheat penny without a mint mark, showing distinctive orange layers and brown and black spotting on the reverse, has been associated with market values reaching an incredible $440 hundredth. That's not pocket change. That's hidden wealth. That's a silent fortune. That's the kind of discovery that can completely change how you look at every old penny you find. So the next time you come across a worn wheat penny, don't dismiss it. Check the date first. Look for the missing mint mark. Examine the surfaces carefully. Preserve its originality. Practice patience, because patience creates wealth in the coin-collecting world. But don't go anywhere yet, because the next wheat penny on our countdown is even more mysterious. Its rarity has fueled collector obsession for years, and one tiny detail makes it far more dangerous to overlook than anything you've seen so far. Next up, what if the dirtiest penny in a forgotten coin jar turned out to be worth more than a luxury home? It sounds impossible, but that's exactly why the 1,918 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark continues to shock collectors. This is the kind of coin people accidentally lose, spend, ignore, or toss into a drawer because it looks old, worn, and unclear. The surfaces may appear dirty. The details may seem faded. Yet beneath that neglected appearance could be hidden wealth that most people never recognize until it's too late. The story begins in 1918, one of the most important years in American history. The United States was deeply involved in World War I, and the nation was experiencing enormous economic and industrial pressure. Factories were operating at high levels, resources were being directed toward the war effort, and everyday commerce depended heavily on circulating coinage. Pennies moved constantly through businesses, military communities, and households. Few Americans handling these coins during that historic year could have imagined that some surviving examples would eventually become prized collector treasures. What makes the 1918 no-mint mark wheat penny especially fascinating is its connection to that turbulent period. Produced at the Philadelphia Mint, it carries no mint mark beneath the date. For many collectors, that missing mint mark is one of the first details they examine. Most people miss this. They focus only on how old the coin looks, while experienced collectors know that tiny details often determine whether a coin is ordinary or extraordinary. Take a closer look at the front of the coin. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln facing right, a design created by Victor David Brenner. Across the top appears the famous motto, "In God we trust." To Lincoln's left sits the word liberty, while the date 1918 appears to the right. Even on heavily circulated examples, collectors carefully inspect the remaining design elements. A partially visible date or surviving lettering can still generate tremendous interest because original surfaces tell the coin's story. Now turn the coin over. The reverse displays the classic wheat ears design that made these cents famous around the world. Two wheat stalks frame the central inscriptions, 1 cent and United States of America. Above them appears E pluribus unum. On a coin described as almost dirty and unclear, these details may show substantial wear, but that wear also reflects decades of real-world circulation. Every scratch, every dark area, and every worn detail represents a journey through history. This small copper coin was struck using a composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, has a thickness of about 1.55 millimeters, and carries a girth of roughly 59.8 millimeters. In your hand, it feels like any other penny. That's what makes the discovery so shocking. A coin that feels ordinary can hide serious money. As wartime demand increased during 1918, mint equipment operated continuously to produce needed coinage. Dies experienced stress, production schedules remained demanding, and millions of pennies entered circulation. Most never survived the following century in collectible form. Many were lost, damaged, corroded, or simply worn away through decades of use. That's why surviving examples continue attracting attention from collectors who understand how difficult it is to locate authentic early wheat pennies today. One detail that creates collector fascination is originality. Many old coins develop dark surfaces, dirt accumulation, and natural aging over decades. Ironically, those characteristics often tell experts that the coin has not been improperly altered. This detail changes everything. A naturally aged coin may be far more desirable than one that has been aggressively cleaned. That leads to one of the most important warnings any collector can hear. Never clean the coin. Cleaning can permanently remove original surfaces and destroy value that took generations to develop. Original toning matters. Original texture matters. Original character matters. Once these features disappear, they can never be restored. Professional grading is critical because experts evaluate authenticity, condition, and preservation using standards trusted throughout the coin market. Collectors are often surprisingly emotional when it comes to early Lincoln Wheat pennies. Some spend years searching for the right example. Others refuse to sell once they acquire one. Auction behavior can become extremely competitive because experienced buyers understand that supply continues shrinking while interest remains strong. The result is a marketplace where desirable examples can trigger aggressive bidding and intense competition. Today, a 1918 wheat penny without a mint mark in almost dirty and unclear condition has been associated with astonishing auction values reaching approximately $469. Think about that for a moment. A coin many people would overlook could represent a silent fortune. A penny hidden in an old box could be a life-changing opportunity. This is not fiction. Hidden treasure still exists, and sometimes it's hiding in the smallest places. So before you spend another old wheat penny, stop and inspect it carefully. Check the date. Confirm whether a mint mark is present. Preserve the original surfaces. Avoid cleaning at all costs. Be patient, because patience often separates ordinary collectors from those who uncover extraordinary wealth. And believe it or not, the final coin on this countdown is even more unbelievable. Its rarity has stunned veteran collectors. Its value has shocked auction rooms, and one overlooked detail makes it the most dangerous penny to ignore in this entire video. Next up, 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a D mint mark has stunned collectors with values reaching an incredible $437. That's the kind of silent fortune people accidentally spend on a cup of coffee, drop into a tip jar, or leave forgotten in a drawer. Unlike coins that look obviously rare, this one can appear surprisingly normal. That's what makes it so dangerous to ignore. Hidden wealth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it hides behind a simple copper surface that most people never examine closely. The year 1942 was a turning point in American history. The United States had entered World War II, and the nation was rapidly shifting toward a wartime economy. Factories changed production priorities, resources became increasingly important, and demand for metals was growing. Every coin produced during this period carries a connection to one of the most dramatic chapters in American history. As millions of citizens worked, served, and sacrificed during wartime, pennies flowed through every corner of the country. Few people realized that some of those everyday coins would eventually become collector treasures. This particular wheat penny was struck at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small D mint mark beneath the date on the obverse. For collectors, that tiny letter immediately attracts attention. Most people miss this. They see only a penny. Collectors see a specific mint, a specific year, and a specific opportunity. On the front of the coin, Abraham Lincoln faces right in the iconic design created by Victor David Brenner. Above his portrait appears the inscription, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, while the date 1942 sits to the right. Beneath the date rests the important Denver Mint mark. In fine condition, many design details remain visible, giving collectors plenty to study and appreciate. Flip the coin over, and the famous wheat ears reverse comes into view. Two wheat stalks frame the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above them appears E pluribus unum. The reverse design represents an era of American coinage that collectors continue to admire more than a century after its introduction. Every surviving wheat penny serves as a small piece of history that passed through countless hands. The composition of this coin reflects the standard Lincoln cent formula of the era, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, has a thickness of around 1.55 millimeters, and a girth of roughly 59.8 millimeters. Those specifications sound ordinary, yet hidden within that tiny copper disc could be serious money. Production demands during 1942 were significant. The nation was focused on supporting wartime needs, and mint facilities worked continuously to keep coins circulating throughout the economy. Dies experienced wear, machines operated under pressure, and millions of cents entered circulation. Yet despite the large number originally produced, finding attractive survivors decades later becomes increasingly difficult because so many were spent, damaged, lost, or worn beyond recognition. One reason collectors become fascinated by this issue is its survival in fine condition. A coin that has retained clear details after more than 80 years tells a remarkable story. Every visible line in Lincoln's portrait, every readable inscription, and every surviving design element increases collector interest. This detail changes everything. Condition often separates common coins from highly desirable ones. Collectors also pay close attention to color, surfaces, and originality. Some examples develop beautiful natural aging that reflects decades of careful storage. Others show signs of harsh treatment. That's why one warning can never be repeated enough. Never clean the coin. Cleaning permanently removes originality and can destroy significant value. Original toning matters. Original surfaces matter. Professional grading is critical because experts can evaluate authenticity, preservation, and overall desirability far more accurately than the average owner. The market for historic wheat pennies remains strong because collectors continue competing for quality examples. Some buyers quietly wait years for the right coin. Others bid aggressively when an attractive specimen appears at auction. As more collectors enter the hobby and fewer desirable examples remain available, supply continues shrinking while demand remains strong. Today, a 1942 wheat penny with a D mint mark in fine condition has been associated with market values reaching approximately $437 hundredth. That's not ordinary pocket change. That's hidden wealth. That's a silent fortune. That's the type of discovery capable of changing someone's financial future simply because they took the time to look closely at an old penny. So before you spend another wheat penny, stop and inspect it carefully. Check the date first. Look for the D mint mark. Study the condition. Preserve the original surfaces. Never clean it. And if you believe you found something special, seek professional grading before making any decisions. Because the greatest treasures are often the ones people overlook, and sometimes a single penny can be worth far more than anyone ever imagined.